Hello guys, we are discussing module 4 data analytics for IoT. So in which in our last session we have seen Lambda architecture as the last topic. So before that we covered Hadoop and different other criteria under that, Hadoop distribution file system and Apache Kafka, Apache Storm and Apache Flink. So these are the analytic tools that we covered yesterday. And at last we were discussing about Lambda architecture. So in which the smart objects, how the smart objects generated the data. So that is distributed via Kafka. Then we had HDFS for a storage purpose. So it will do the batch processing. On the other side, we have a stream layer for continuous real-time streaming. Then we have a serving layer, which will provide a platform to deliver the streaming clearly. So we covered till here yesterday's session. So today we are going to see about edge streaming analytics and network analytics. This is Pradeep Kumar from Department of Computer Science, AJIT Mangaluru. So in today's session, we will discuss a little bit depth on edge analytics or edge streaming analytics. So while discussing the first module, in which when we learned about different architectures of IoT, so we have seen 3 different architectures. So in which IoT World Forum architecture and IoT Simplified architecture, in which we had this edge computing or fog computing. So something like is a middle layer or intermediate layer where we can have transformations, processing, and streaming towards upper layer or from upper layer towards the lower level or physical layer part. So now we'll see a little bit more about that. So edge analytics is an approach to data collection and analysis in which an automated analytical computations is performed on data at the sensor, network switch or other device instead of waiting for the data to be sent back to a centralized data store. So now why this edge analytics? So when the sensors sense the data and send towards upper layer via from physical layer moves to MAC layer, then to transport, then to abstraction for IP, then for application level. This is in general level. So now in between, so if we wanted to have this analysis part as a processing part, then we need to have this edge analytics, which will perform data collection and analysis via using automated algorithms. So these automated algorithms are nothing but either algorithm you are using some other methodology, ready-made, built-in, available analytical functions that can be used to do the analytic part. So now, so we can have that sensor, the sensor data, and can be transformed via network switch, so that we can save that particular data in a centralized data store. So before storing that, we can perform analytics analysis on this edge streaming, that is edge analytics. So now, where exactly this edge analytics works, that is a major area of evolution for IP in the past few years has been the transition to cloud service. So coming to the cloud part, where we are going to store it as a data store. So where every large technology company is now selling software and services from the cloud. So that is something like cloud computing. So this will incorporate, this will has data analytics system also. So saying that we can have a dedicated tool on a cloud so that we can make use of that particular tool to analyze our sensor data. So now with respect to IP is concerned with, when IP is evolved from IPv4 to IPv6. So using cloud computing, we can implement these softwares. So that is provided by third party or any one of the company service provider. So the service provider will provide us the software as a service, SaaS, data storage as a service, cloud, and other parts, other services from the cloud. So that is using those services via the cloud, we can perform this edge analytics. So now the major part under this is, to perform this is bandwidth. So the bandwidth requirements to the cloud or data center need to be engineered to match. So the main concern is bandwidth, the speed at which we can upload the data or speed at which we can download the data for processing to perform this edge analytics should be mapped. So the bandwidth, whatever the bandwidth needed for uploading or downloading, that should be mapped with the cloud or data center or wherever we kept the data. So towards that particular position, so the bandwidth must be clearly available so that whenever we can have a data as a sensitive data, which may need immediate attention for processing or to do analytics, so that can be reached immediately. So that is what this third point says. So the first point is, so we can have a analytics based on the data which is collected, and we can perform analytics via using automated analytical computations or built-in functions over the data, whatever the data collected by the sensor. So this can be performed using the help of our services from the cloud via IP. So to do this particular task, we need a stronger bandwidth so that we can download or upload the data from or to or from sensor and the data center or storage or cloud. Moving further, as an example, consider a situation so that you can easily understand. So in Formula One racing, F1, Formula One racing, each car has at least between 150 to 200 sensors that generate more than 1000 data points per second. For example, we'll consider a situation even in our normal car. So we'll discuss about this Formula One example later. So before that, we'll understand a little bit more about how this can be set up. Consider a car. So whichever the car you buy from the market right now, say from the last 2 to 3 years, most of the cars are equipped with one or the other sensors. So one of the sensor is seat belt. So if you do not wear seat belt before you starting your car, or before you start moving your car, if you should not, if you should not wear your, if you couldn't wear your seat belt, it will give a beep sound like an alarm. On the other way, on your front side, you can clearly see an LEDs popping up, LEDs up. So till 2 minutes, if you couldn't wear, it will keep quiet, the sound becomes normal, and after some time, again it will start continuous beep sound. That is how it makes alert, how the driver should be alerted to wear a seat belt, to fasten the seat belt. That is one thing. Second part, nothing but sensors for making alertness with the driver to wear the seat belt, to fasten the seat belt. One thing. Second sensor with respect to light. So whenever a darkness has appeared, say around 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the evening, automatically, so we can have a light enabled sensor, so that when darkness appeared, automatically your headlight, your vehicle's headlight should be on, switched on automatically. So that is sensor, where it is sensor is applied. Third example for a vehicle. So whenever there is a possibility of rain, so based on the humidity level, automatically whenever 1 or 2 spills of water or 1 or 2 drops fell into your windshield, automatically your wiper blade should turn on, so that it should clean the glass, the windshield. Next, so whenever you when you are driving your car, or when you are in a car, so if you are driving more than 100 kilometers, so it may alert you by highlighting with the light red or yellow, something like that. So these are some of the examples that we can see in a normal car that we buy from recent days. Similarly, for engine level, engine heating, you can see the sensor for that also, and the sensor for fuel level, to monitor fuel level in your car. So these are the sensors that we use, and you can have a GPS sensor also. You can have other sensors in your car according to the company manufacturer. So these are the examples where we use sensors in our automobiles. Similarly, now come back to this particular example. So by considering the previous, whatever the example we discussed just now, as a normal car, we may have up to 4 to 5 sensors. So now what we do with that particular data. So if you have a abstraction layer to perform a chart saying that whatever the data is collected for every 1 hour, so that you can have a database. So in that particular database or data store, you're supposed to collect all the sensor data for every 1 hour, whether you are moving your vehicle, whether you are in a transit, or whether you are stationary. So irrespective of that, so we have written a program that will collect the data for every 1 hour from your vehicle. So now, using this edge streaming analytics, what I do is, I'll display all those statistics for every 1 hour in your mobile phone or in your TV. So that is what edge streaming analytics come to picture. So now you can think about it. So the real time, whenever I can see the data in my data store, automatically I'll using a presentation application or use a computation methodology so that I can display using a very nice graphics or very nice presentation style. Using that presentation style, I can present it for you. That is how or where edge streaming analytics takes place. So now coming back to this particular example in Formula One racing car. So we may have 150 to 200 sensors that generate more than 1000 data points per second. So if you have observed or if you have seen Formula One racing, so the driver who wears the jacket, it has sensors, heart rate sensor, heat sensor, and the driver's helmet is having a camera, head mount camera, a mic, and other corresponding sensors for wheel pressure, tire pressure, balance, fuel sensors, all those. So for each time, for every second, all those sensors should send the data. So now for every second, all those data should be collected and shown to the administrator so that he can give a suggestion for his team. So now those sensor data is transmitted from the car and picked up by trackside wireless sensor. We'll have another either wireless sensor so that it can have a data. From that sensor data should be sent to the data store or administrator the same way. So now you can apply Lambda architecture. So on the other side, so it is divided. So one side it is streaming, another side it is we are making use of HDFS or Hadoop. Similarly, edge streaming analytics with this particular example performs in the similar fashion in such a way that before transmitting live or before streaming up, you will have a copy of all those sensor data in your database. That is how the edge streaming analytics works. For every second, more than 1000 data points are being collected from your Formula One racing car. So now what we supposed to think? Check about the industry. So one industry where data analytics is used extensively is the world of automobile racing. You can see whatever the type of automobile racing. So in all those things, we make use of this data analytics. You can have this data analytics to compare the driver's capability. So driver's position, driver's history, how he drove, how he or she drove the vehicle in various situations, various conditions, various curves, various track-wise analytics. So these things can be applicable with respect to this streaming analytics. So this is one of the major industry we can look after. So if you are very much interested to do the career on data analytics, then this is one of the area you can look after, automobile racing or any kind of racing, any kind of vehicle racing as usual. So as the race develops, decisions such as when to pit stop for a tire change, fuel or refueling, or to give a pass, or to use and when to slow down, all need to be made in seconds. Everything should be made in seconds. Because each and every time driver cannot look after all the sensor data, somebody should be there in the back end. So that's why using wireless sensor, so all the sensor data has to be sent to the administrator. So he'll decide on this by communicating with the driver. So when to do a pit stop, say for example, if there is a 46 laps, 46 rotation has to be performed, then on which rotation, which lap the driver has to stop for a refueling, driver stop for a tire change, all those come into picture in this case. Got it? Hope you're clear on this particular part. Moving further. So these are the key values of edge streaming analytics, which is reducing the data at the edge. So we can filter out. So here reducing is nothing but filtering out. So these are the major key values or challenges on the other side. If you say reducing data at the edge. So here we can apply the filtering concept, which data needed for a particular at that particular time. Is something like, for example, say when you are streaming, live streaming, so you can give this particular kind of filtering out. So this you can reduce the data at the edge. So what coverage you wanted to have, what type of coverage, the area of coverage, all those come into picture in this case. Reducing data at the edge, so that we can easily, whatever the sensor data has to be needed for a particular application, that can be reachable, that can be collected from that edge itself. Second part is analysis and response at the edge. So whatever the data has been collected from the other side, so that should be analyzed, and response, the immediate response, the fastness, the speed at which you can respond. So that should be performed in very well manner in the edge only. So edge in the sense the endpoint where we can have that particular streaming or analysis. So when we, and along with the time sensitivity also, because there is a rapid generation of data, and in the same time, the same duration supposed to supply the analysis results. So time is precious over here, because on every second the decision has to be made. If you consider the previous example of this Formula 1 racing car, if the blow or hydrogen level of the car of the one of the tire may get reduced, or tire may got something hit to the tire, so then the decision should be made immediately. So based on the analysis, based on the tire pressure analysis. So that's why the time sensitivity is more in this case. So we need to perform with the more care and fast, and to provide the analytic results. Moving further. So edge analytics, what are those core functions when compared with the big data? So now, to perform analytics at the edge, data needs to be viewed as real-time flows. On the other hand, however, for performance related issues or to give a proper analytical results, the data should be viewed in the form of real-time current scenario, because you're supposed to apply analytics on that particular data. So real-time data should be given. So now when big data analytics can be applied based on the large quantities of data at rest. So that is, please have a clear cut idea when to apply big data analytics, when to apply edge analytics. Big data analytics, we can have all those analysis when you have the data in your database, that is data in rest. But edge analytics you must apply when you have to collect the data in motion, that is streaming. So that is only the bigger difference between that big data analytics and edge analytics. So big data analytics can be applied when you have the data in your database, so the large quantity of data. But edge analytics can be applied during streaming. That means streaming flows or in data in motion. On the other hand, we can say, for example, if you are in a moving car, then during that particular duration, if I want to have all those sensor data, whatever the sensor you have in your car, so that is I supposed to apply edge analytics. So how to do these things, edge analytics? It can be divided into three simple stages. Streaming analytics at edge can be broken down into three simple stages. The first one is raw input data, second one is APU, analytics processing unit, third one is output stream. So we'll see in detail about this one, streaming analytics. So raw input data is nothing but the raw data which is collected from the sensor. So raw data coming from sensors into the analytics processing unit. So that is raw data, whatever the data, which is not at all processed. In whatever the format the sensor reads the data, sensor collects the data, in the same format we are receiving it. That is raw input, raw format. Second one is analytics processing unit, APU. So APU will have filters and filters. So these filters are used to filter out which data is needed for that particular analytic application. Based on that, we can apply filters. So we can filter out and we can combine data streams. Filters and combines data streams, or on the other hand, we can say it may separate the streams as well. So both the things can be performed in this case, either filtering, then combining different data streams, or separating different data streams. Then supposed to organize them by time windows and performs various analytical functions. So now what is this time windows? Nothing but based on the microservices provided by this, to apply analytics on that, to apply analytics on the raw data, we can have filters and we can combine or divide or separate the data stream. So based on that filtered data, and using this combined or stream or separated data, we can apply some analytics tools so that we can have the service as provided by this analytical function. Once we have that one, then we can provide output stream. So that is output that we wanted to send. So output stream is nothing but the data that is output, which is organized into insightful streams and used to influence the behavior of smart object and passed on for the storage and further processing the cloud. So here, based on this output stream, that is after analytics, after applying analysis, after applying analytical functions, we'll get the output stream. So this output stream can be saved in a database, can be passed on for storage, and based on that, we can send back to the smart object. So based on this output stream, smart object decides what to do using an actuator. Okay, that is output. So the three stages are raw input data, APU, analytical processing unit, output stream. Raw input data is nothing but the actual data which is collected by the sensor. APU, analytics processing unit, which performs filtering and combines or separates data streams. So then after doing that one, it will organize for a proper microservices provided by these analytical functions. Output stream will give the result, that is data as in the form of output from the previous to the analytical processing. So it will give those output streams are given to the smart object for a further processing, and simultaneously we can have it in a storage. Okay, so we'll see in the diagram now. So now from the left hand side, we can have multiple raw input streams. So this individual, please follow my cursor together. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different values over here as a representation purpose. So these individual values are different set of values from different sensors. That's why we have written multiple raw input streams. So consider an example of same racing car. So this first line, first data from tire pressure, second one from fuel, third one from mic, fourth one from the speed. Okay. So now based on this particular data, this particular tire pressure, fuel and mic, and then speed. So these are different data collected from different sensors. So this should be filtered or supposed to apply filtering so that we can have all those data in our APU. This is APU. So APU will have processing power. So on the other hand, this analytical processing unit will perform processing on these particular data. So what are the filters supposed to apply? What are the algorithms we're supposed to use for merge these, or using a program to display everything as in the form of a graph or the form of a bar chart or pie chart? So that is the algorithm or methodology that we use, or the service that we use out of this one. So using that, we can merge this or separate this one. Then the output is fed to the storage, either to Hadoop, or we can give it in a form of presentation for the driver. That is how this core function works. Repeating again. So these are different sensor data collected from different sensors, which is fed to APU. So APU will process this one. Processing involves filtering of the data or cleaning the noisy data, then applying different microservices. So microservices are nothing but analytical functions. Applying different algorithms on that particular data will end up in a result. So that result we can have a copy in Hadoop or any other storage, maybe in a cloud as well, and then we can give it to the user. So user in the sense, if you consider car race as an example, user are nothing but a driver, as we are the spectators, the users are administrators with the particular car company, Formula One racing company, and so on. So these are the things to be performed when we consider edge analytics. So edge analytics, we are making use of edge analytics when you need to apply analytic tool if the data are in motion. If you are wanted to collect the data in motion, if your vehicle is in transit, that's why we give an example of automobile racing, because we supposed to apply analytics, streaming and collecting the data. But if you consider Hadoop analytics or big data analytics, that is can be applicable only when you have the data in your cloud or database, the data in rest. So that is the difference you're supposed to remember. Okay, any doubt or any clarification in this? Okay, so we'll see in detail about that one. So what are the things are performed by the APU, that is edge analytics core functions? So first one we said filtering or filtering out. So that is streaming data generated by IoT endpoints, nothing but sensors, likely to be very large and most of it's irrelevant. So this is one part we're supposed to consider for filtering. So the first one is first part. So we'll divide this entire sentence. The first part is we have large amount of data from endpoints, nothing but sensor data. Some of the data not needed at that particular time, on that particular application. Say before starting the car race. However, we supposed to check with everything, every individual uh, sensor data. So if everything is okay, everything is perfect, then only we leave the vehicle for the racing. So then at that particular moment, for 1 or 2 rounds, there's no need to collect the data from fuel, no need to have the data from the tire pressure, all those, right? So that is based on the usage, based on the necessity, we can filter out. So this again, filtering should be performed in a speed manner. That's why we have discussed the point, timeliness, time sensitivity, so that we can have this particular data. Next, second part is transformation. So when we say transformation, so this is again the job of processing, APU. So transform involves extract, transform, and load. All these three functionalities. ETL. So ETL operations are used to manipulate the data structure into a form that can be used for other purpose. So first one, we'll see in detail about this ETL. Extract. Whenever we have the data, that is raw data from sensors, we're supposed to extract which data we wanted to have in that particular application. As we see an example, car racing, Formula One race car. So in that case, so for the initial few rounds, we don't want to have the data from tires. We don't want to have the data from fuel level, because it is already filled. So we supposed to apply filtering. Then the other, that is speed at which it operates, temperature of the vehicle, those data we need. That's why filtering out and extracting only needed the data, at that particular moment, that is extracted, that is extraction. Once we extract that part, then supposed to transform. This transformation is nothing but converting from one format to other format. The sensor data should be converted to one format to other format. If you take an example, converting temperature into Celsius from Fahrenheit, that is transformation. That transformation part is supposed to apply. Then load. Once we get the transformed data, that particular data should be loaded to the analytics. So once we have this ETL saying that this should be completed, so we can have that data in our DB. Then the next core functionality is time. As we know, this is a real-time streaming data. Time is more valuable, because we're supposed to stretch on this one, because you're supposed to correlate with all other sensor data as well. Because say when we say temperature, and in a Formula One race car, for each and every second, body temperature of the driver, temperature of engine should be monitored. So there should be an average correlation should be needed along with the sensor data which is collected from the human, the driver, and the engine. Right. So then only the driver can perform well. So that should be performed. The analytics should be performed in the real-time streaming on the real-time data. So that's why should have faster and stronger analytic algorithm. Okay. Then correlate. Streaming data analytics becomes most useful when multiple data streams are combined from different types of sensors. For example, in a hospital, various treatments or various diagnosis treatments can be takes place on a particular patient. For example, body temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, weight, height, weight, and respiratory conditions. All those. So then once we have all the separate data, the doctor has to correlate with the age, with the person. So then he trace out the reason behind the health of reason behind illness of the particular patient. That is what correlate. Over here, the streaming data analytics becomes most useful when multiple data streams are combined from different types of sensors. For example, if a particular during racing, sometimes we have seen in TVs, on news channels, or in newspapers as well. So during a Formula One racing car, if a driver lost control over the car due to the fault in tire manufacturing defect or sudden pressure losing, then supposed to trace out what are the sensor data at that particular moment. Then the administrator comes into conclusion that so and so sensor data has very less value or doesn't collect the value because of so and so reason. That is how correlation takes place or works. So in general, the match patterns, once the data streams are properly cleaned, transformed, and correlated with other streams as well as historical data sets, pattern matching operations gain deeper insights to the data. So over here, when we say pattern matching, this pattern matching takes place after correlation. Because, for example, if you consider a hospital sequence scenario, if a patient undergoes various checkups, the patient will record, or the hospital or the in charge will record patient's history, patient's body weight, patient's heart rate, weight, all those things. Then the doctor has to correlate everything. Then he's supposed to map. So this mapping or matching. So if he has so and so symptoms, then this is the disease. If so and so symptoms are takes place, then you can have this particular disease may occur. For example, right now in a COVID-19 situation, if a particular person is having symptoms like cold, fever, cough, and breathing problems, then there is a chances of COVID-19. So that is how it has been mapped or matched. Then the last point says can improve business intelligence. So which is not at all available previously. So based on this matching patterns, we can have an idea for our improvement in the business logic. So where exactly, which part exactly went wrong in a racing, which lap went wrong for a driver, or weight of the driver at that particular moment, right? So these are the business intelligence can be applied or concluded with this particular edge analytics. Okay, understood? Okay, moving further. We'll have a distributed analytics system. So we have seen what is edge analytics, edge streaming, and now coming to the distributed analytics systems. So in this case, please look after the diagram. We have edge location in the left hand side. We have processing platforms, that is nothing but fog processing in between. On the right side, we have regional data center. So now we divided this diagram into three parts. First part is edge location, second part is processing, third part is regional. So regional, on the other hand, this is nothing but data centers or data storages. So we'll see from the beginning, from the left hand side. So now here the circle represents MQTT communication. So we discussed MQTT in our last chapter, how it works, all those things. Something like it is publisher subscriber. I'm just briefing it. MQTT just revising. It is nothing but publisher subscriber pattern. So publish in between publisher and subscriber, we should have a broker, data broker. So he'll look after the communication from tail to tail or end to end communication. So whatever the data is sent by the publisher, he'll filter out or process it, and then he'll send to the other side. So other side again, subscriber will receive those data according to his or her subscription. So that is in general working out between MQTT, that is publisher and subscriber. Now consider the situation. So we discussed about car race, Formula 1 car race. So in that car race, so edge location, that is sensors and edge processing. We have seen supposed to collect data in edge, process in edge, all those. So what is this actually? So we may have these many sensors. Consider for a time being, we have pressure sensor, we have temperature sensor for each individual tires or vehicles. Then, so the data which is collected from this pressure sensor, which is sensed by the sensor and sent to the processing. So here I apply MQTT communication, that is publisher subscriber. So the publisher is pressure sensor, he'll publish, and subscriber is this particular broker. So we supposed to send through this MQTT, the data has to send from sensor towards the broker. So what this broker will do, so broker's job is to perform edge processing. Whether there is a need of conversion, whether there is a need of transformation of data from one area to another. For example, if it is temperature data collected by temperature sensor may be converted to Celsius from Fahrenheit. So that is a job done by the broker, and broker will look after end-to-end communication from publisher to the subscriber side. So now, so this is the task done by edge processing. So with respect to edge location, we'll have those sensor data in the form of raw data that is to be processed in the edge processing. Edge processing may have some of the algorithms to filter out to transform the data. Broker's job is to communicate from one end to the other end. Fine. Okay. So now coming to the processing platform. Processing platform involves a frog processing because this should happen in between. So what it will do, it will perform streaming. So when we say streaming, nothing but is supposed to apply APU. So what are those APUs perform? So we listed out processing, different processing relay, filtering, then correlating, then applying, transforming, then again tracing out with the result. So that is the output what we get. So that part has been done in fog processing. So what it will do in between? So the data which is captured by the sensor, which is reached over here in this particular position. So this broker's job is to send one particular part to the streaming, another part for the storage. That is what we perform in data center. Fine. Okay. So data center, we may have a dashboard, separate dashboard to control over the data. And we may have a data virtualization as well. We may have a data lake to have a copy redundancy have been maintained. So this is how distributed with respect to edge processing, fog processing, and data center has been a different task. So now what we supposed to think about this particular diagram is we are applying analytics in all the three levels. So we are stressing more on that particular part. Over here, edge processing, edge analytics has been applied because to get the data from the sensor, filtering out and transform it. So that output will be reached over here. That is edge analytics. Then fog processing to be performed for streaming analytics. You're supposed to trace out what you have in that video. Any necessary information you have in that particular video that is to be traced out. Then what we perform over here, data center, again Hadoop, big data analytics, because we have a data in REST, in a data lake or in database. So that's how distributed analytics system works. Everything is distributed in each three layers. Yeah. Any doubts so far? So let us continue after a short break. So if you have any doubts, please get back.